Hello class, today we are going to be learning about the geography of empires. So I'd like you to take a minute and discuss with your partner what's an empire that you remember, that you've either read about or you've learned about in school. What's one famous one you remember and what made that memorable to you?
Macedonia, and I don't remember why. I think it's like the first major empire, but I could be wrong.
First major empire would technically be either the Olmecs or the Hittites, which I was going to say the Hittite Empire, because they were the ones who basically brought domesticated horses into the mainstream of Mesopotamia. They were the first large one after the Sumerian Empire's fall. Well, the Hittites were the first major empire to begin conquering outside of their home area.
That's pretty good. So you guys have an idea. We're gonna look at a civilization for the first slide. I just wanted something you guys might be familiar with. This is Mesopotamia. As you can see, you've got
That's what I was thinking.
You've got geographic features such as the land in white, and then can you guys tell me what's in blue?
Probably river or rock.
Yeah, water.
Tigris and Euphrates.
Yes, those are the rivers. And so as you can see with this next empire, water is another important feature. You've got the Atlantic Ocean, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Black Sea. Can anyone guess what famous empire this is? It's one that's talked about a lot.
Rome.
Yes, the Roman Empire, good job. Okay, for this slide, I'd like you to raise your hand if you think this is an empire. Don't raise your hand if you think it's not an empire. Can someone raising their hand tell me why they think it is?
Empire usually is referred to as a large territory spanning multiple different cultures and regions. And there is literally nothing more imperial about the United States, which is referred to as the melting pot, and who did a lot of expanding in the early 1900s.
Right, so there's a lot of similarities between the United States and empires. I don't think we've ever officially declared ourselves to be one, but a lot of people debate whether or not, so that's just for fun. Now I'd like to move on to a quick video clip. This shows the importance of water to modern societies.
Water is the lifeblood of Mother Earth. Whether it's frozen in the form of rain or clouds, in rivers, lakes, and oceans, water is around us and sustains us all.
The water crisis is a global crisis. Water is destructive in its power of too much, too little, and polluted water. Overall, it's the vulnerable that are hit hardest by these water crises.
UNWater, which means really all the agencies that work within UNWater. We supported the Secretary General to develop the action plan of the decade. So UNWater itself will act as the coordination platform for all the different UN agencies. The decade really, it's about inspiring people to do the right things to achieve the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goal on water and sanitation.
So, as you can see, water intersects with things like climate change as a feature that can impact us today, but also in the past. Now, I'd like you to place a shape somewhere on the line, whether you think water was important to these past empires or not very important?
We don't have access. We don't have vetted access.
All right, well, just raise your hand if you think it was important. Why do you think that, either of you?
Because, like, people who have to travel farther for water, like, it's not gonna last as, it's not as sustainable to travel for water than to have it readily available.
So, I think water is one of the big geographic features that might determine whether or not an empire is going to be successful. And it intersects with many of these other features, as you need water to be able to grow crops and have resources and to plant trees and to have some sustainability. And climate is also going to affect that because you cannot grow crops in the tundra due to freezing temperatures, and you cannot grow crops in a desert where there's less access to water. Another thing is the strategic positioning that matters. This can come in the form of natural barriers such as mountains and bodies of water that might prevent enemies from easily invading. And the last thing is the susceptibility to natural disasters. Here in Nebraska, we just worry about tornadoes. I think places along the coast might be more concerned with hurricanes and stuff like that. That makes sense. So I want to do a quick activity. On the count of 3, I'm going to ask you to respond with either 1 or 2 for where you would choose to set up an empire. So for this side, 1, 2, 3.
1.
Why would you choose 2?
Because
It's a lot more comfortable.
For 1?
2 is because that's a jungle, and it's extremely difficult to navigate compared to a desert. In the desert, a lot of trading empires have still been able to flourish, such as the Ghana Empire.
That's fair. Yeah, empires have been there. I think the thing that stood out to me with 1 was the access to resources, but you're not wrong that empires have been established in deserts. For this side, 1, 2, 3.
2.
Yeah, the first picture is an active volcano in Alaska. I think it's erupted like 54 times since 1823. So that, along with the freezing temperatures, might not be the best place to start. And the last one, 1, 2, 3.
1.
You said 2 and you said 1?
I said 1.
Yeah, I can see why you would say 1 with more water and obviously the resources, but 2 is not necessarily a bad option either, because that's actually the location of Machu Picchu, which is where the Inca Empire was. And I think the isolation in the mountains offers some sense of protection there. All right, so now I'd like to take a look at a concept that might be unfamiliar to you. Distance decay. As distance increases, similarities decrease. This might be one of the effects on empires and their falls. I think there's obviously other things, but with more space in between certain locations, there's obviously going to be more space that you have to manage and more differences that cause problems. So I'd like the person with the map of the Inca Empire to take their penny and place it at this location on your map. And then take your nickel and place it here. And your dime right there. And then with the Ottoman Empire, place your penny here. Nickel here. And your dime down here. All right, Ottoman, would you tell me which 2 coins are gonna have the least in common?
The penny and the nickel.
Those will have the most in common.
Oh, you said in common?
Yeah,
So-
sorry.
Any of these versus this one have the least.
Yeah, exactly. And then same for you, Inca Empire, least in common.
Brazil versus equatorial Guinea.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you guys understand sort of the concept of distance decay. Now I would like you to remove the paperclip and take out your packets. I'm gonna hand you guys highlighters, and I would like you to just briefly skim over the packet and see if you can find any point that connects to either the distance decay effect or those geographic features that we mentioned. You can just very briefly skim. You guys are about finished. Do either of you want to share what you came up with?
If there was something that said like militarily it had trouble defending itself from foreign occupation, and that makes sense because like the farther that they were apart, harder it was to send people out from wherever the military was being trained.
Yeah, good job. Strategic positioning and whatnot. And Bria?
Just the vast distances of the Inca Empire all the way from Colina de las Ventanas to the Valley of Cusco.
Yeah, that's kind of covers the space we talked about. For this next activity, I want you guys to just flip over your maps because you don't have access to the slides, do you? Alright, we'll just write it down on your maps, but what do you guys feel more confident in your skills locating present day countries near the Inca Empire or near the Ottoman? So Mediterranean or South America?
The South America.
Okay. You guys want to work together and just try to come up with as many of these countries as you can find on the map. And you can just write them down 1 through 10. I just want to get you guys familiar that with locations that change, because I think we looked at historical maps and how they used to look, and it's important to remember that that's not still what it looks like today.
And it's Brazil.
When is Colombia?
Where's Chile?
Yeah. And 5 Argentina. 6 Bolivia.
this way on the right.
And the last two. Ecuador is number 2, and 3 is Peru.
Alright, good. So I accidentally left my answer sheet in my car, but it looks like you guys, for the most part, I think you got everything. Let's try that really quick with the other map as well. You guys can work together again and just see if you can identify any of these that are located where the Ottoman Empire once was. And not all the parts are here, but
Ukraine. Two Saudi Arabia. Four Libya.
I have no idea.
no problem. Alright. I think as you're wrapping up, I just want to remind you that it's important to know how maps looked historically and how they look today. And you don't want to go around saying, oh, that there is the Roman Empire. People might be kind of concerned, so we'll just keep that in mind. But overall, today, sorry, I'm ending this slide. I think we've pretty much covered concepts such as the geographic features of an empire and what's involved in their rises versus their fall, which comes with distance decay and topics like that. And then I also had you guys analyze 2 separate countries just to sort of see how they actually look, or 2 separate empires to make differences between them. And yeah, that's pretty much it.